love the cowbell in that. A lot of cowbell.
Hey, we're back, everybody. It's Friday Night Live Decibel Geek Podcast. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done this, and I know you guys have missed us on your Friday night, so we are back. What's going on, Chris?
All right.
Yeah.
I almost synced it up perfectly. Sorry.
Oh, man. It's good to be back on Friday nights.
Yeah, it's been like a month since we've done this, so happy to be back. And got a special guest today, Andrew Sgambatti. Thanks for coming in. And are you excited to talk about the Hot in the Shade era today?
You know, I'm so excited to be here. I'm really glad that Aaron decided to stop rock starring me, because for those of you that don't know, Aaron and I were together this weekend, and I saw him because you can't miss the silver vest that he wears. So I said hello to him like you would somebody that you know, that we've been on this show together. I don't know how many times. And then he just kind of just like looked past me and was like, "Oh, hey man, what's," like he treated me like somebody he didn't know. Like he treated me like you know, your girlfriend's mother. So like you're didn't want to see me, just was being, you know, cordial. And then it didn't even occur to him that he had seen me until Chris was like, "Hey, did you see Andrew? He was there all weekend." And there you go.
That's exactly what happened. I don't even remember Friday night. I mean, like I said, I had a pretty good buzz on that night, but you know, it's all said and done. I looking back now, I've seen you probably 50 times throughout the course of the weekend, if not more. And the whole time I'm thinking, I know that guy from somewhere. Where do I know him from? If I'd only walked up and just said, "Hey, where do I know you from?" You said, "You fucking idiot, it's me, Andrew."
Yeah, exactly. I would have given you such a hard time that night too, just because it was funny, but it's all good. So I knew it would come to you, and I thought you might have been on your way to something. I know I certainly was. You know, I was working for Peter Criss all weekend, so I didn't have a whole lot of downtime.
Right? Yeah, I understand that. I was
you don't
celebrating
want to play
birthday,
this drinking game, because that's it. You'll be done.
Be drunk in a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat. That's true.
Nice.
It's the same way if you play a drinking game every time Ace says, you know, in an interview.
You know, Curly. But yeah, so I guess both you guys are recovered from the whole weekend. Sounds like it was a crazy 3 days for everybody.
It was cool.
Yeah, very much so. You know, like I just said, I worked for Peter Criss while I was there, and it was difficult just to be on your feet the whole time. And I mean, I probably saw more attendees than not. So, but it was good. It was very, very good, and we had a great time.
That's awesome. Yeah. I know when, especially after Saturday night, everybody came up to me and would come up and say, "Hey, Aaron, well, that was crazy, man. What do you think of that?" And then I go, "Well," and they'd stop me and go, "No, I'd rather hear you tell Chris about it." So Chris and I last night sat down and recorded a special edition of the Torpedo Dudes, which is our KISS podcast. That's normally just for Patreons, but we did a special recap of Creatures Fest. That's going to be coming out real soon. It's a Torpedo Dudes for everybody.
Yes, and it is the most poorly named podcast of all time.
Yes, it is.
Like I said, when it came down, because if you're going to have a KISS podcast, you have to name it after a KISS song, I'm told. And when I went down the list, all that was left was Torpedo Girl and Read My Body. So Torpedo Dudes it is.
Yeah, nobody needs the Read My Body podcast.
No, that's not even about KISS. I don't even know what it's about. I don't want to know.
Same.
Too funny. But yeah, so like, you know, we're excited. We're going to talk about the Hot in the Shade era of the band, and like this is a near and dear thing for Aaron and I, because you know these are like our formative years of becoming KISS fans. So, but we also want to point out that, you know, Andrew, you know, who's done all these amazing KISS fan films, The Greatest Show on Earth, which was the original band, and now we've got The Greatest Show on Earth 2, which highlights the Hot in the Shade tour. Can you describe how you got into deciding on this for the next one?
Well, it was funny. After I finished the original Greatest Show on Earth, like the moment that, like, I think the first viewer stopped watching it, or finished watching it rather, they were asking me, "What are you going to do next? What are you going to do next?" So in history at that point, this was 2018. There wasn't any end of the road tour looming or anything like that. Everybody knows that one of the biggest KISS tours is the Hot in the Shade tour. So I always knew I wanted to do something on the Hot in the Shade tour, especially knowing that there was so much footage of the band at that time. The band did shoot a bunch of stuff that was going to be for Exposed 2 that for one reason or other just never happened. So there's been all this footage, and I had it all. and I knew I wanted to do something with it. So I kind of started toying with it back in 2018, but I never really did anything with it that was going to be worth anything. So it was kind of that project that always sat on the back burner. I think soon after I did that, I started doing Kiss at Midnight, which came out next, and then I kind of went back to it, and then then I had the idea for One Last Time, and then on and on and on. So I never really was able to work on it until much later. And then once I finally sat down to work on it, I was like, hey man, there's a lot of cool stuff here. So I think I started actual like full-time production on it last June, where I was watching everything and kind of seeing what was good, what wasn't good. And as I mentioned, when this tour happened back then, and you guys can share your stories about it too. When this tour happened back then, it was like a return to form. You didn't really have the lazy stage set. You didn't have you finally recovered from the 13 songs of the Crazy Nights tour. So this was a return to the big 70s Kiss show before there was a reunion. So Hot in the Shade was an important tour for the band, and it was that first stepping stone into the band becoming a nostalgia act, which I don't think is a bad thing. Some people do, but it was kind of that first foray in the band saying that they actually respected and were paying tribute to their history. So this was a tour that I knew I wanted to cover, and with all that footage being out there, I knew it was something that I could do.
Very cool. So why don't we let's give people a little taste of it. I've got the trailer ready to go here. I think we let people take a look at it so you can see for yourself. I think Aaron and I both seen the whole thing and we loved it. But let's watch the trailer here. Check out The Greatest Show on Earth 2.
Kids, this is Eric. Hi. Glad that I had this chance to talk to you.
Expect the unexpected. Expect KISS, but expect it in bigger doses.
To go where no band has gone before.
Buy this sucker.
Go get some cookies.
I feel like this is born again KISS.
You're gonna cut tape, and we're gonna do this spontaneously.
I love the cover artwork with the sunglasses, man. That's too cool.
It gets me excited every time I watch that. Just putting together little pieces of it just to give you a little taste just gets you excited. But the most important thing about that is the end, because what's cool now is you can purchase a poster that looks similar to this. It's a little bit bigger. It's 11 by 17. You can purchase it signed by ex-Kiss guitarist Bruce Kulick, who's actually in the movie. He endorses the film, and him and I are going to be doing something cool together here pretty soon. But you can purchase this right now at kissarmywarehouse.com. It's actually on the main page, and we've already sold a couple, so hopefully we're going to sell a couple more. But this is just something cool. I've never really sold anything regarding these movies, so once I kind of had this idea, people seem to really dig it, and it's cool that you can get it signed by Bruce Kulick.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, no, this whole thing brought back a lot of memories for me because, I got into the band during the Crazy Nights era, and then I guess Smashes was the first album I actually bought new, but that's a greatest hits record. But so this Hot in the Shade was the first studio record that I bought brand new, and it's aged interestingly. And there's a lot of talk about some songs should have been dropped, some songs should have been included, and we'll get to all that. We are going to do a track-by-track bracket brawl on this record tonight, and that should be fun. But no, for me, it brought back a lot of memories of seeing them in concert for the first time here in Nashville in 1990. Yeah. So, yeah, July 1990, it was Kiss, Slaughter, and Danger. And I remember going up to it, and I remember going up to the Starwood Amphitheater, and it was raining earlier in the day, and then it had just stopped raining. It was hot as hell. And you could hear Kiss sound checking through the fence. And I remember that. And I remember getting super excited. And then they play. And while they played, there was lightning in the background.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
There were storms going on that night. But they were amazing. And I remember one thing for some reason this always sticks with me is they broke out I Was Made for Loving You that night. And I remember everybody in the crowd, all the diehards that were in the crowd were just shocked by it. They were like, what the fuck? They're playing this song? But people just went apeshit for it. It's kind of surprising that song, it's a polarizing song, but for some reason people go crazy when they play it live. But it was a night I'm never going to forget. And I spun this record thousands of times over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole era, just, it was a fun time to be a KISS fan. I know it wasn't like their most lucrative time at the time, but no, I loved all the early 90s years. I love that time. But Aaron, what about you? What do you remember about Hot in the Shade?
I remember, again, just like you, this was like the peak of my youth fandom of KISS. You know, like, this is when I'm buying albums. I actually got probably Crazy Nights as a gift, but I'm pretty sure I bought, I'm 100% sure that I bought Hot in the Shade, because me and my KISS buddy Jason, because Ace Frehley's Trouble Walking came out pretty close to the same time, we had to figure out who's buying what, because one of us is going to buy one album and the other one's going to buy the other one, and then we'll make each other tapes of it.
Right.
You know, so
I used to do that.
I don't remember what the bet was. I don't remember how I lost, but I ended up getting Hot in the Shade. And I really wanted Ace Frehley, but whatever the deal was, I lost and got that. But I mean, it was cool. It was all right at the time. I was excited for it. I remember, I think the most exciting thing about it, and this goes back to me because I was a little bitty kid that liked KISS and then got a little bit older and really got into KISS. And because my aunts and uncles had the stuff, so I'd see Makeup KISS all the time. And that's what I really loved. And then got to this point where it's like, okay, you know, KISS is still around for me and they're still putting out albums. I'm still going to be into them. I still love the music. And then when they did the Rise to It video where Gene and Paul were putting the makeup on,
Mm-hmm.
that was a pretty big deal to me as a KISS fan that always yearned to see, because I was too young to experience the original KISS firsthand.
All right.
I only was experiencing it through magazines and books and pictures and on TV occasionally. And then all I had was current KISS, but I always dreamt of the myth, you know, the legend of what KISS used to be. And so when they're putting on that makeup in the video for Rise to It, it blew my little mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I just want to call out something that's in the tracks right now because it relates to what we're talking about. About I Was Made for Loving You, and someone said that it was played live before they used backing tracks. Well, that's actually incorrect, because touring keyboardist Gary Corbett was on this tour, and there are backup vocals that were tracked by the keyboard. I think it even started on the Crazy Nights tour, but it's certainly on this tour as well.
Yeah, they had choruses on the backing tracks, which Gary gave us some great interviews on that stuff.
Sure, the legendary story that everybody knows about how, you know, it's time for God of Thunder, and when the Sphinx opens its mouth, Gary hits the wrong button and it says forever.
I would love to see that show.
I wish that was on tape. Yeah, he did. I don't know. He told us, but I don't know that it actually got captured on tape. But actually, in the Exposed 2 footage, you can see it being referenced. There's footage in the backstage area where Paul is giving Gary shit over that whole thing, where he's talking, "It's forever," and Gary's just hiding his face. And I was like, and I sent that to Gary at the time, and he was like, "Yep, that's what he was referencing. That was me doing that." Yeah, he got a lot of shit for doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most of the courses, and you can only hear it really well at certain shows. There's a great show on there right now from Weedsport, New York.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's at Weedsport, New York. But anyway, you could clearly hear the tracks, especially during "I Stole Your Love."
Yeah, yeah, I know he was doing backing tracks for the Hot in the Shade or the Crazy Nights tour when they did Europe, because they were doing that. And I mean, he got in a lot of trouble because he got caught on camera at the Monsters of Rock show in England. But no, I remember that. And Aaron, you referenced the Rise to It video, and I remember this coming out because first, the Hide Your Heart video came out, and I remember liking that video and also really wanting Paul's orange Tennessee Gretsch guitar. I just love that guitar in that video. I think it's beautiful. And then Forever comes out, and Forever really did, whether you like it or not, as a power ballad, that song truly did bring them back from the dead. I remember a lot of people that made fun of me for liking KISS all of a sudden they liked KISS because of that song. And then probably 2 months after that, Kevin Seal, who was an MTV DJ, was like, tomorrow we're going to have KISS with the makeup back on and the new video. And I was thinking, oh my God, they're going to like they're going to do it like full on. And they hyped it up for a couple of days. And then when they showed it, it was cool to see it, but I was kind of like, once they cut to the band with no makeup on playing the Rise to It, I was kind of like, oh man. And then at the end, you got what you were hoping for. But it was it was a really cool time to be a fan. Cause like I loved the Bruce and Eric version of the band, and I still do.
Me too.
But it was also, I was still 12, 13 years old wanting to, get a taste of that original band stuff with the makeup. So it was kind of cool to get that. But yeah, no, it was a great time to be a fan. And Slaughter and Danger were both doing pretty well at MTV at the time. I think Slaughter brought in quite a few fans. And Winger too, and Faster Pussycat was on that tour also, and Little Caesar.
I can't stand that band. I never was able to get into that.
I like those guys.
Because I go off on my hair metal tangent, because at that time I think a lot of those bands sounded the same. You had a Shitney Fox on every corner of every street in Hollywood. But anyway, what I really wanted to mention is it's funny that they released the video for Rise to It after Forever, when in actuality it was shot in November of '89. And it was supposed to be the next single. It's actually the first thing that Larry Mazer did as a manager of the band. It was his idea to put the makeup back on and to do it that way. So it's interesting that they kind of knew that they got a lukewarm response for Hide Your Heart, and they were going to hit him with another rocker, but they knew that they had struck gold with Forever. And a lot of people don't know that without Forever, there wouldn't have been a Hot in the Shade tour.
Absolutely.
A lot of these promoters were giving, not great responses on KISS being an arena band. You would have saw them in these mid-sized places, much like you did on the Lick It Up tour,
right?
A little bit of the Creatures tour. But once Forever was a big hit, it changed everything. That's why you have such a long period of time from when the album comes out in October of 1989, then the tour actually starts in May of 1989. 7 months, that's an eternity when you're thinking about pushing a record. A lot of tours are over in 7 months.
Right.
So it was an eternity between the album release and them actually doing the tour. And you almost kind of wonder, if Forever didn't come out, would there have been a tour for Hot in the Shade?
I don't know. I mean, I heard they weren't getting great offers. And then there's also, and I think it's pretty much been confirmed by this point, that they were in talks with Ace about him coming back into the fold. Like he would open the show and then he would also appear with them. And
that's true.
There was rumors that they would throw the makeup on with him.
That's true.
Even Eric referenced it in interviews, but it fell through at the time. It was too early for that, really. I don't think it would have had the power that the reunion had in '96. But
I agree. But this was the seeds that the reunion was coming, because now they're playing stuff like, they brought out stuff for that European tour. They brought out like Deuce and all Shout Out Loud, and they're playing Dr. Love on the Crazy Nights tour. They just brought things back that just hadn't been there for a long time.
Right.
Stole Your Love.
God of Thunder.
Yeah, and opening with I Stole Your Love. That's such a great concert opener. I mean, it had such impact to it. And Eric Carr's drum solo on this tour with the laser show and everything was really awesome. But no, it was a great time to be a fan. It really was. And I have such great memories of that show. It's one of the, there's certain concerts that are a blur for you, but that one is like stamped into my memory. It's almost like I remember every moment of that show. It was crazy.
I was just a little bit too young to see the show. At this time I was only 5 years old in 1990. So I wasn't going to concerts, and I just missed seeing them at Madison Square Garden on the reunion tour, because I was just 11 years old. But luckily I was able to see them December of '96, when they came back after going to Europe. But I would have loved to have seen this tour. This is one of those tours that I always look back on and really, really appreciated the tour, because they did cool stuff on it.
Well, and like I heard they did have a prop of the sunglasses for the Sphinx, but then they nixed it. Like they thought it looked hokey. Is that true?
That is 100% true. I was talking to Larry Mazer last week, and he mentioned that story to me. He says that, if you went to the first couple shows on the tour, you would see the sunglasses, propped up behind the stage, because they thought that it looked very Spinal Tap, very hokey when they put it on there. So, I'm actually glad they didn't have the sunglasses on it, because then you had those lasers, searching through the crowd. So I thought it was cool. It's what's really interesting to notice is I watched a lot of shows while I was putting this together, and I don't think we mentioned it here. I mean, I know you saw it in the trailer, but you can see the Greatest Show on Earth 2, which is on the Hot in the Shade tour starting June 10th on YouTube. But I watched a ton of a ton of Hot in the Shade shows while preparing for this. Everybody's seen the Detroit show that's on Kissology Volume 2, and you notice that when the Sphinx mouth opens in the beginning of the show, there's like green lasers that shoot out of the mouth. But while I was watching some of the earlier shows, and especially in Lubbock, there was only like a couple spotlights coming out of the mouth at first. Then they added the lasers on later. So it was kind of cool to kind of watch the show kind of change and grow over time, because everybody knows that when you see a KISS tour, they're always going to do something different. They're always going to try something different at the beginning of the tour.
Yeah. And I remember the Headbangers Ball with Ricky Rackman hosting, doing the special on the opening of the tour. They went down to Lubbock and they did several interviews with the band, and that they because you told us like over a year ago about that you were going to do something with this Exposed 2 footage, and I remember thinking, thank God somebody's doing something proper with this, because I've had the DVDs of it forever, but it's a slog to get through because there's
it's
lot
almost impossible to get through, because there's like, oh, look at KISS eating, and look at Paul trying on these boots, and
the boot shopping section goes on forever.
It's not great to sit down and watch, because it's really, really, really boring, like really boring. So I knew that I had to do something with it, because you wanted to be able to consume this footage, and you want to be able to watch it, because there's some cool funny stuff. Eric has some funny lines in there. There's funny stuff of Paul just eating cookies the whole time. I mean, I guess when they were in there, because this footage, the backstage footage, was shot in between Lubbock and Dallas. So he had Paul eating cookies and all kinds of stuff like that. There's even some great footage. I mean, what's really cool about this is there's footage from the whole leading up to the tour. There's footage of them rehearsing in New York in April of 1990, which they shot for a French show called M6. I actually have the raw footage of that. So that's
I saw stuff in what you had that I had never seen before.
Yeah, there's stuff that's never been seen before in there. There's also stuff regarding to the intro of the Hot in the Shade that's never been seen before. So right when you turn on the movie, you'll be able to see something no one's ever seen the stuff before.
Let me ask you, because you might know, I don't know, like that they were doing, it looked like they were doing rehearsals in a club or something, and there's a part where they start playing Betrayed.
So what that is, there's two club shows that happened in leading up to this tour. One of them, they played the Stone Pony, which was April 13th, 1990. They were rehearsing in New York, so the Stone Pony, which is in New Jersey, wasn't far. The Stone Pony was a benefit for the T.J. Martell Foundation, which actually ended up being one of the charities that partnered after Eric had passed. So I know they did a bunch of donations and stuff to that same charity, the T.J. Martell Foundation.
Okay.
And there was also another show out in California, in Reseda, California, which it was put on by a radio station, and I believe it was also a benefit show as well too. That I'm not entirely sure of. Check your KISS on tour 1973 to 2020 book from KISS FAQ. But there's two shows. So it was April 13th, Stone Pony, Asbury Park, New Jersey, and then April 25th, the Country Club in Reseda, California. So all that club footage comes from Reseda. And it was them kind of sound checking and blah, 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 this and that. But I thought it was important to see them, kind of working out the kinks of the show. And you see the band having struggles back in the clubs. They wanted to play so loud. So they rehearsed in New York in April of 1990. Then they did these two little club shows. And after the club shows, they moved everything to Lubbock, Texas, because we pick up. So we see the April 25th footage, and then we pick back up in Lubbock, Texas on May 3rd. 1990, which is one day before the tour opened. You see them rehearsing in Lubbock.
So wild that they would open a tour in Lubbock, Texas. That's interesting.
Well, I have a story as to why they did that, because when you open a tour, you don't want to have the first night of the tour at Madison Square Garden in New York City.
Right.
Number one, it's a major market, and you're going to have major media coverage on that. So if something doesn't work quite right on the opening night of the tour, you don't want to do that. Number two, a lot of the major markets have really strict unions. Madison Square Garden has a strict union.
Oh, yeah.
You really don't make any money when you play a place like that because of all the union laws. So you want to rehearse someplace where the building is cheap and you're going to make money. So where do you go to do that? The South.
Lubbock,
So,
Texas.
so that's why, and they kind of played it up because it's the home of Buddy Holly.
Right.
So it just made sense. They probably were able to get that place really cheap, and that's probably why they did it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, cutting out the like Paul shopping for boots and then eating the crew food and all that. Like there's a lot of stuff in the raw footage where you're just like, what am I watching?
What am I watching?
It shows how unglorious it is, but behind the scenes on a rock tour. It really does. But Eric Carr is a breath of fresh air though, because like, you know, he's in the locker room area at this place in Lubbock, and he's like, look, Bruce Kulick's water.
You're gonna see some cool stuff, and you see Bruce Kulick's water. So yeah, stuff like that is funny because I think watching this, and this is a must see for any KISS fanatic. It's gonna make you miss Eric Carr.
Yeah.
And just how silly and off the wall he was. So I had to include stuff like that just because it was a tribute to him, and I think people that are maybe just got to the band in the last 10 or 20 years never knew that about him.
Yeah, and lots of lots of great footage of Gary Corbett, who we missed greatly.
Which I do, and then you turn on the movie, and it may not have been in the version that you guys saw.
No, I saw that. Yeah,
it's dedicated to Gary and Eric.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, and he had so many fun stories from their time on that tour, especially. You know,
I was hoping, and unfortunately he passed, so I was never able to do that. But I was hoping that I was going to get this in his hands, and maybe he would have given me some, unseen footage that no one had ever saw. So, but that didn't happen. So I did want to dedicate this to him.
Yeah,
I know he'd have loved it.
He would have. Yeah, absolutely. He did let us see some stuff that was pretty cool. One night he came over to Aaron's house and brought the camcorder, and we hooked it up to the TV and we watched
with the RCA cables.
Yeah.
And that would have been so cool. I mean, that was just a cool guy because not only did he play with KISS, but he played with Cinderella and so many other bands. Debbie Gibson, all kinds of stuff. I mean, that guy, if you want to talk about a road dog, that guy was a real true road dog. Yeah. And it's unfortunate that he passed, but it's stuff like this where you get to look back and you get to see what a great guy he was and what an asset he was to the band at that time. Yeah, and
he gave us a sneak peek into Paul Stanley's golf game, which was quite entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
Paul Stanley and Samantha Vox on a golf course in Ireland. It's interesting footage.
See, stuff like that would have been great for this.
Yeah, it would have. But he was the whole time he's showing it to us, he's like, you could never show this to anybody. I'm like, okay, we get it. But yeah, because he was just like, I don't want to embarrass him. I was like, I got it. But some fun footage, one of them's, I think it was, I don't remember who, Eric or Jean's birthday in the hotel room. Like that shows them having a birthday cake in one of the hotel rooms in Europe. That was pretty cool too. But no, there's so much.
Let's think about that for a second. So it was in Europe. So let's see. So we know Eric's birthday is July 12th. It would have been on the Crazy Nights tour. Where were they in July of 1988? I don't know, but we know they were definitely on tour in Europe in August of 88 because they played Monsters of Rock in August of 88. So probably Jean's birthday.
I think it was. As a matter of fact,
it's sick how I know this stuff. Where I'm
that's
like,
great.
Like, tell me the date. I'm like, all right, cool. Where were they on this date? So,
you could probably pinpoint it down to the city they were in too.
Yeah, another funny little thing about Rockin' Pod, Courtney, which Courtney was getting ready to do the comedy show, and they were asking. She's like, I need a piece of KISS footage, and she was talking to the podcast Rock City guys, and they both look over and they go, Andrew's the one you want to ask about because that guy's gonna know. So when I did,
I'm the weird guy that my friends will call up. You know about KISS? Tell us what this is.
Like, okay. Tell us what happened this and what happened on this date and what happened here. But I mean, you can see all this stuff. Starting on June 10th. You can see on the Greatest Show. If you want to get your spot early, just head on over to youtube.com/Greatest Show on Earth Fan Films. And just subscribe to the page. It's going to be right on there. If you were at the Creatures Fest this past weekend, I was handing these out all weekend. And the coolest thing about that, if you scan the back of that, that's a QR code. Put that up to the screen right now. You scan the back of that, it'll take you right to the YouTube page. And you want to subscribe and see this for the first time on June 10th. So that's 1 week from today that you'll be able to see it for the very first time.
Nice.
Now, typically what I do is because I like to treat these like they're actual movies that are coming out. So probably what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to put it up at 8 o'clock p.m. on June 9th, or maybe 10 o'clock p.m. on June 9th. But it's absolutely going to be there by the time you log back on June 10th to see this. So I'm super excited about this. This has been many, many, many years in the making, and probably a full year in the making, just continuously working. But, I've had false starts here and there, but it definitely is something that I'm really proud of. And will probably be my last little thing for a little while, even though I have some ideas of what I want to do next. I need a break. I really do.
So we're not going to see that New Orleans Creatures of the Night show, huh?
Hey, your guess is as good as mine on that. I was hoping we were going to see cool stuff in conjunction with the History documentary. We got a little bit of stuff, but not a whole lot. So
there was more than I was expecting in that, though. I was like,
Yeah.
I caught little glimpses here and there. I'm like, holy shit. And I even confirmed with you on some of it. I'm like, that's Sunshine Inn, New Jersey. And
that is correct. So there's 8mm stuff that was found from Sunshine Inn, Nassau Coliseum, which was that New Year's Eve show where Blue Oyster Cult opened for KISS, and a couple other things here and there. There's also some of the footage from the KISS H.I.T.S Festival, that big outdoor festival in '74. There's also a quick little you blink and you'll miss it clip of Motley Crue playing way back in '83.
Andrew's very excited to be here, as you can tell.
No, it's just it's so weird because this was a short week, and everybody knows that every time it's a short week, it feels like a long week. So I was doing and also too, I'm going to see Paul McCartney tomorrow, so that'll be fun.
Nice.
Oh, are you?
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna go see your stunt double. That's
My
awesome.
stunt double. So yes, I will. So hopefully they'll let me in backstage. Be like, oh, Sir Paul, you're here. Great.
Yeah, I've got a picture of Andrew right behind me here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if I cut my hair short and get a mustache and lose 20 pounds, that's what I'll look like.
Yeah,
Look like
good
Paul
old
McCartney.
time machine Paul McCartney here.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've never seen it before, so it'll be
you'll have
cool
a
to do
blast.
something non-KISS.
It'll be
Yeah.
and he's doing like a super extended set list right now, so you're gonna hear a ton of music.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited. I'm really excited because one of the biggest inspirations to this movie was actually the newest movie Beatles Get Back, and watching some of that kind of changed on how I made certain decisions in the editing room. So I really, really enjoyed that movie, and it basically made me say, well, I gotta go and see him now.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. So, because as somebody making fan films and stuff out of raw footage, essentially. So, I have to imagine you probably learned a lot from watching that documentary.
I did, and whenever I do anything like this, I try and watch different documentaries and kind of just take little influences from here and there to see how they did things or what they did. I've rewatched the Eagles documentary. I just watched a Randy Rhoads documentary. Beatles Get Back, obviously. But it was one of those things where I had to, figure out how this marriage was going to work, because the first Greatest Show on Earth, it was built around a concert, kind of the same way how The Song Remains the Same was built. This, even though there is concert footage in here, there are no complete songs.
Mm-hmm.
It's built around the documentary footage of making the tour, so it's a little different. But what I want to mention too is this does kind of pick up where the first one left off. So that the first 10 or 15 minutes, it goes the history of the band from 1980 all the way to 1988. So the first Greatest Show on Earth ends in 1979. Then this one picks up right in 1980. So if you're a new KISS fan, you could watch Greatest Show on Earth 1, Greatest Show on Earth 2, and get the history of the band from 74 to 1990 in 2 movies.
Heck
So-
yeah.
That means there's going to be a third one then, right?
Well, there's a second coming, so right after that. I mean, so honestly, you could watch the Greatest Show on Earth 2, and then so I just want to answer the question. There is a documentary of the fans, and unfortunately, it's embarrassing.
Kiss Loves You.
KISS Loves You.
Yes, I've seen that a few times.
Mm-hmm.
It had its moments, but it's very cheaply put together.
I think I thought it was well made. I mean, just remember, it was shot on film in the late 90s.
Right.
There was very, very expensive to do that back then. Expensive to do that now.
Yeah, I do like that they kind of got a good glimpse of the '90s KISS convention circuit, because that was a cool thing to get captured, because those were special days, because KISS popularity wise was not big at all. They were like really struggling, so it was cool to have conventions in those days.
Now, did you guys ever go to the famed Rothman Center conventions in Hackensack, New Jersey?
I wish I had.
You
but
never
no.
went?
I went to Atlanta and Nashville. Those are the only two I ever went to.
Man, I cut my teeth there. I mean, I took it for granted that I was basically in a high school gymnasium that was all KISS. And the first, I don't know, man, 10 years of my fandom, I was going to this. So it was cool. It was something that will never be topped again.
Yeah.
It won't be.
I went to Atlanta '95, and Ace was the featured guest, and he pissed everybody off. But he was still in his drinking days, and he got through half the line, and Ace has to do a radio interview, and he left for like an hour and a half, and he came back, and he was more fucked up than he was before, and it's like,
oh man,
okay, and so that's why I have an awesome poster signed by Ace Frehley to Dave Ace Frehley. Yeah.
Nice,
man.
I need to find somebody I know named Dave and give it to them.
I met Ace. He was at the New Jersey convention in '92, and I didn't meet him that day because the band Firehouse showed up, and basically people, because they were real big at the time, so people stormed Firehouse, and I was just a young kid at the time. I was 7 years old, so when that all happened, I had to leave. Firehouse, yep. Yep, I think All She Wrote was like a big deal. And I think they're Jersey boys, or some of the members of the band are Jersey boys. That's why they were there.
Oh, yeah, here's an idea. Do a documentary with fans that support the current lineup and fans who reject it. Do like a point counterpoint. Counterpoint spelled with a K. Or just go on the KISS FAQ message board.
Oh yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It's basically, if that would happen, it would basically be like Trekkies, but if the Trekkies hated each other.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'd ever want to make something like that, because I would probably put myself in the nut house trying to make it. It is a good idea, but unfortunately, none of those people would play nice. And I don't. Someone, and I should have done this, but I was busy, but someone should have made a documentary about this Creatures Fest. That would have been fun to see. Or someone should have made a documentary about just KISS conventions in general, just to see the fans, and just to see, all these things. I mean, Chris, you run Rockin' Pod, that, the trials and tribulations that go along with having your own convention, as far as even securing guests. So
piece of cake, no drama at all.
It would have been cool to kind of see the other side of it, because people, listen, I'm from the days where like you'd pay $18 and you'd walk into a convention and I can get this many things signed by whoever was there. Right. So it's a stark difference to what it is now.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying that, it's bad now, because it's the state of how it is. These artists, they don't make money from their record sales anymore. So they have to, supplement that income some other way. So I don't blame the artist for doing that, but it's not the same as it was. And people that miss those days, you really missed something that was cool. I remember it must have been the indie convention. It was probably 10 years ago now. I think it was the first convention that the organizers of the event were charging to meet Eric, and it was either Eric or Eric and Tommy. People were flipping out. They're like, I'm not paying $20 to meet that person. And now you have this convention just happen where you pay $275 to meet, one guy and get one thing signed. And by the way, if the one thing signed wasn't his approved thing, you were going to give him extra money too.
Yeah, we got into that. We recorded last night Aaron's recap, and my recap, but I was just watching from afar. And by the way, Aaron, Andrew, I did Rockstar snub you, but I was 30 miles away.
He snubbed us all.
Yes,
he did.
He did. But no, the 90s, it was very Wild West. I remember, you could buy bootleg videos and stuff left and right. I got my first bootleg cassettes at the Atlanta KISS convention in '95, and it was a very different time. And tribute bands were not kind of as played out as they have been lately.
There was only 5 back then.
It was, and I saw Hotter Than Hell at the one in Atlanta, and they were really good. But it was a different time for sure. And it was, but I don't know, like the early 90s, being a KISS fan was, was much different than now. But I don't mind the argument of like get KISS fans that support them now versus ones that don't. Because honestly, we all grew up KISS fans and we all used to defend them, and it felt like all for one for all. But now it almost feels like the biggest enemy of KISS fans are other KISS fans these days.
You are absolutely correct. The KISS fans' enemy are other KISS fans.
That's true.
That you couldn't put it a better way than that.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, just to get back to Creatures Fest quickly, the people that were there, they seemed to have a good time.
Yeah. It seemed like
so I'm actually going to answer this one. Is it true that Vinny Vincent was charging at that? It is true. And here is the piece of paper that he put out just minutes before his signing. It's pink. And if you wanted a selfie with him, $100. You want a record, $200. Trading card, $200. Poster, $350. Musical items, $1,000. History book, specifically history, $1,000. Guitars, $1,500 to $1,000. You want a baseball, $500.
Who wants a baseball signed
Vinny
by
Vincent
Vinny?
baseball. It must have happened once.
Well, I mean, like it's unfortunate that it had to happen like that, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, I shared our thing on the recording, and like we do the torpedo dudes for Patreon people, but we're gonna put the one on the Creatures Fest out for free in the next few days. But so you'll hear all our thoughts on that. Aaron's from being on the ground and me from being afar. And it's we definitely have different opinions on certain things from the event. But either way, historical event got happened together that you normally wouldn't see together. So that's cool. And if people had fun, that's all that really matters.
People did have fun. Did have fun. I definitely had a lot of fun. I know Aaron had a lot of fun. But it was cool to see people that you don't normally see. That's the vibe that I really liked. It was obviously cool for me working for Peter Criss, but people seemed to have a lot of fun. I saw a lot of people that I hadn't seen in many, many, many years.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Me too.
So that was the cool part about it.
So, all right. So we want to get into bracket brawl.
If you got the graphic and the sound effects ready.
Oh, there's no sound effects. All right, here we go. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Bracket brawl. There's your special effect.
So good. So good.
Oh man. How many people died to get those sound effects?
Almost as good as cable access.
All right, this is the bracket for tonight. The best of Hot in the Shade. We're going to figure out which is the best song on the album Hot in the Shade. They're all in here at random. 15 tracks on Hot in the Shade. We had 16 spots, so there is a unreleased wild card in here tonight. So I hope we got a lot of KISS fans in the room, a lot of people familiar with the album Hot in the Shade, because we're going to vote. Everybody gets a say. There's 4 of us. That makes the people the tiebreaker possibly in this.
There's 3 of us.
You guys, your participation is greatly important in this.
Yeah.
So randomly, I got them all racked up here on the tournament board. It's all here. What is the best song on Hot in the Shade? So matchup number 1 is the opening track, Rise to It, versus the Gene Simmons inspirational Cadillac Dreams.
Rise to It.
Rise to It.
Yeah. What's the people saying?
Rise
to It versus Cadillac Dreams.
We'll see. So Aaron, you're going with Rise to It also?
I mean, I like Cadillac Dreams.
Is anyone going to pick Cadillac Dreams? I'll be shocked.
No, so not over Rise to It though. So Rise to It's too good.
Yeah, it's all Rise to It. Rise to It's a pretty good song for that era.
It is a good song. That's what I'm surprised they don't bust it out nowadays.
I wouldn't mind hearing that one again.
Yeah.
Well, remember they had Hide Your Heart, which we'll talk about later. That was on the first part of the End of the Road tour.
Did they? Yeah, they did do it, didn't they? Yeah. Everyone's picking Rise to It.
Yeah, pretty easy. Cadillac Dreams is all right, but it's not great.
No, it's not.
What was the B-side to Forever? Which song was it?
I couldn't tell you. I
I
can't
Was
think-
it Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell? I can't remember.
that sounds
No,
right.
it wasn't that one. I want to say, maybe Street Giveth and the Street Taketh Away, I want to say.
Mm.
Because
stinker.
whatever that other song was, I remember lunch break in high school, we'd go across the street to this pizza joint, and they had like an old school jukebox in there with 45 albums in it. And, you know, we're talking Hot in the Shade
How they
time.
get 45 albums in there?
They did. And then they had, of that one there was, because it was in there in the jukebox.
Oh, it was side B was Silver Spoon. I just looked it up.
Silver Spoon, that doesn't seem right.
That's what it was.
Huh. I don't know. Maybe they had a weird copy in that jukebox there, but I always play that song, the B side of Forever, whenever we'd go in there and be like, "See, everybody, Kiss rules."
All right. So Rise to It. Goes on.
Rise to It pretty handily defeats Cadillac Dreams and moves on
All
to
right.
round 2. Matchup
Thank
number
God.
2. Oh man, this one probably should be pretty easy, I guess. Read My Body versus Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell. Read My Body, quite possibly the worst Kiss song ever.
It's up
maybe.
there.
It's pretty close, I'd say, if not. What in the Kiss catalog is worse than Read My Body in the reggae conga drums and all that silly stuff?
My Way. Yeah, Somewhere
Yeah,
Between Heaven and Hell.
true.
Easily.
Yeah, Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell,
Yeah.
which, as Courtney Cronendold said in her comedy set at Rockin' Pod in 2018, is code language for Gene's taint.
Yeah. Yep, that's one. This one here is pretty easy too. Read My Body is a joke.
It is.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a poorly attempted Pour Some Sugar on Me
Yeah.
parody.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure glad that wasn't the single.
No one's going to pick Read My Body.
Nobody ever in any situation, in any dimension or timeline. Never. All right, so let's move on because that's easy. Here we go. We got the wild card round here. This is a song everybody loves. Ace Frehley did a version of it. Lots of people did versions of this song. I always wondered how that worked. Talk about Hide Your Heart versus the wild card, a song that the three of us all agree should have been on Hot in the Shade. A song by your favorite Fox, Eyes of Love. Great tune.
Eyes of Love versus Hide Your Heart.
So you got a song that was a single on the album versus a song that didn't even make the album. I mean, it had 15 songs. What's one more? I mean, come on.
Man, I wish you didn't put it up against Hide Your Heart.
I know, because I got to choose Hide Your Heart, unfortunately.
I know. I think I have to also.
I don't know. I'm going Eyes of Love on that one.
Man,
I love that tune so much.
Well, it would have slayed several songs on this record, but Hide Your Heart is pretty damn good.
That's just the way it worked out because that was the only slot left and we were trying to figure out what belonged in there.
And yeah, JTB and a few people have asked about like the deal with all the people recording Hide Your Heart. I think Paul wrote the song as basically a shopping demo and he shopped it out to other artists. And then Molly Hatchet and Bonnie Tyler picked it up, and then Ace picked it up too, which pissed off the KISS camp apparently. But Ace was like, "Fuck you, I'm putting it out anyway." So, but it was like he was trying to basically be a songwriter for hire at the time, and that I think that's the story of how
There's a couple of publishing tapes that circulate from around that time where Paul was just demoing stuff for, not necessarily for KISS to do, but for other artists to do. So
we got a few votes for Eyes of Love, but I think Hide Your Heart for the most part takes it.
All right. So then in the next matchup, we got the song that saved KISS in the 90s, put them in a headline and tour. A sweet, syrupy, but well-written love ballad. It's Forever versus the only vocal contribution from Eric Carr on the album.
Oh, man.
One of my favorites, Little Caesar.
I don't like these matchups.
Forever versus Little Caesar. I'll go first. I'm going Little Caesar all day, every day on this one.
I gotta go Forever just because it was an important song. I mean, and I like Little Caesar, but I can't put it up against Forever.
Yeah, I think I know everybody's not a big ballad fan, but to me, that Forever is an amazingly written song and
It's
was
true.
perfect for the times.
And Bruce's solo is perfect in it.
That's one of my favorite Bruce Kulick solos.
Yeah.
I'll have to go with Forever.
It's one of my favorite acoustic guitar solos I ever heard.
Well, let's look at the viewers. We got Little Caesar, Forever, Little C. Love Eric, but Forever is a great ballad. Little Caesar, Forever. It's pretty split.
Little Caesar's no bueno.
No bueno. Oh man. Michael Bolton's mullet told me so. Okay. Forever is too sappy. It's kind of split 50-50 here. But yeah, I think Forever still wins.
All right.
And then Tim chimes in with I'll say Creeping Death. I think you've
I'm going to second that.
Yeah, Creeping Death's pretty great.
Yeah.
Rami says I love me a little C. I don't know what you're talking about there.
Little Caesar.
All right, so that's going to wrap up the first side of round
Yeah,
one.
the beginning of the trend of Kiss writing songs about pizza chains.
Yeah. No. That's funny.
Kristen says I'm a woman, so I win. You are 5% of our listenership, so.
Okay, so let's keep moving along. We're doing pretty good so far. The next matchup, a couple of Gene tunes. Betrayed versus The Street Giveth and The Street Taketh Away.
It's got to be Betrayed. Got to be.
Betrayed is one of Gene's best songs from that non-makeup era, I think.
It's a shame it didn't last on the tour.
Yeah, I was going to say I could even see them doing Betrayed now, and I think they could find a way to make it work.
It's a great song.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Betrayed, too. I love The Street Giveth, though.
I like them both.
Really good tune.
Don't get me wrong. They're both good, but I Betrayed's one of his best songs from that era.
All right, what we got so far? 2 Betrayed, 1 Street.
Another Betrayed.
Another Betrayed. We all go with Betrayed.
Yeah.
Betrayed it is. Great tune.
You ain't crucified, so just get real.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we go from a battle of Gene songs.
It's Gene singing about not putting a log in a fireplace. So
Yeah, thank God.
Oh man, who knew he could do it? All right, the next matchup. This is a pretty tight one too here. This is pretty cool. The band, I told Chris about this. The band Sisters Doll did a live version of this song at Creatures Fest. That was really, really cool. I've never heard this song played live before by anybody ever, and it was pretty awesome. This matchup brings us King of Hearts versus Love is a Slap in the Face.
Oh, man, both of them are stinkers.
Really?
Oh, my God.
I like both of these songs.
Yeah,
I think King of Hearts is much better, though. I would go with that. I think King of Hearts is kind of a lost gem from that.
I'm going to go with King of Hearts only because I think I've only made it through that song. I haven't made it through the other one.
You know what? And I didn't really, if I wouldn't have heard that song live last weekend performed by that band who did such justice to it, it really kind of reawoken me to that. And it's like, that actually is a pretty damn good song, because if these guys are up there playing it live and it sounds that good, maybe that's something Kiss should have, gave a chance to on the tour. Looks like King of Hearts and Almost a Runaway.
Kiss's new lighting rigs pods are pizza slice. Okay. Thanks for the commentary, Sinkin' Stanley. Slap in the face. There's a couple slap in the face comments, but and this is weird. I was really into horror movies at the time this album came out, and I always thought the Bruce Kulick palm muted intro to King of Hearts sounded like the Halloween theme.
Mm-hmm.
I remember once I figured it out on the guitar, I thought I was king shit.
Yeah. You were the King of Hearts.
Yes.
As I want to slap you in the face.
Yeah.
That's good.
Kristen always disagrees with us.
Seems like it
But
sometimes.
yes, she still listens. So
Yeah, she loves us, but she disagrees with our picks on this all the time.
All right. So King of Hearts moves on. Next matchup, Prisoner of Love versus Boomerang.
Prisoner of Love, Boomerang sucks.
they both kind of suck, but I'm going to pick Prisoner of Love.
I like Boomerang. I think Boomerang's like heavy metal Kiss. I like that.
You and Greg Troyan are the two people I know that think that's a good song.
I think it's awesome.
I think it's funny that you know Greg
Cooks.
Troyan because I used to do heavy metal karaoke with him like 10 years ago when he lived here.
Oh, it's funny.
Nice.
And I used to work in the same office building as him.
It's
We used
funny.
to have lunch together.
Great guy.
Greg's
the
awesome.
best.
What are the people saying? Looks like a little bit of both.
Yuck.
Yuck.
Prisoner, Boom. Prisoner, I guess. Both suck. Prisoner of Love. Prisoner of Love, I guess, but it's begrudging. I don't think anybody likes either of these songs.
All right. I guess I lost out on that one. I was doing pretty good.
Prisoner of Love too.
All right. We'll give it to Prisoner of Love then.
Poontang
Boomerang,
Boomerang.
Boomerang.
All right. And then the last matchup in round one brings us Silver Spoon versus You Love Me to Hate You. I never really liked You Love Me to Hate You much.
I like the chorus, but I'm going to go with Silver Spoon.
I'm going with Silver Spoon also.
I'll go with You Love Me to Hate You, but I like them about the same. But yeah, it seems like most people are going to like Silver Spoon better.
It's on the box set. That's why.
This is by no means is Hot in the Shade, one of Kiss's best albums when you look at the discography as a whole. Really, this would be on the bottom half somewhere, most definitely.
As a Ricky Schroeder show,
there are
good.
some moments.
As a Ricky Schroeder show, it's good, but as a Kiss song, not so much. Especially the female backup singers at the end.
Yeah.
It's cringeworthy.
When Jericho's band Quarantine did the song last weekend, it was pretty cool. They rocked it out pretty hard.
It took balls, though, to wear the You Make Me Rock Hard costume and then play Silver Spoon live.
Yeah,
you know,
you
he's
gotta
a
give it
Kiss
to him
fan
for
if he's
that.
doing that.
Takes balls. All right, looks like Silver Spoon is running away with it.
Aaron Gray was hot back in the day. All right. Yeah, Silver Spoon wins.
All right. So then that brings us to round two. We get a little bit closer to figure out what is the best song on Hot in the Shade. So the first matchup in round two brings us Rise to It versus Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell.
Rise to It. Easily Rise to It.
Yeah, I think so.
You got to go with Rise to It.
Got to go with Rise to It.
Also, a missed opportunity at marketing for Viagra.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Along with
sure.
Let's Get It Up by AC/DC. All right. Everyone's going with Rise to It.
Yeah. Runaway.
Yeah.
All right. So Rise to It will advance to the semifinals.
All right.
All right. Next matchup. Two more singles going head to head right here. Hide Your Heart versus Forever.
Ooh.
And this one, I guess I'm going to go Hide Your Heart.
Yeah, I'm going to go Hide Your Heart as well.
I'll go with Forever, but I think everyone's going to pick Rise. They're going to pick Hide Your Heart.
I mean, Forever was an important song, but I think that, when you're doing one for one, man, Hide Your Heart, great song.
Yeah, everybody's going to go with Hide Your Heart. Oh, what? Well, Cecil picked
Yeah, I see a couple of Forevers in there. Couple of
JTB
sentimental fools like JTB.
John Fu picked Or Pizza Crust. I don't know what that means. All right. But yeah, Hide Your Heart wins.
We got a new song we're going to debut for you tonight. It's a little something we like to call Papa John's. All right,
called Real Ingredients.
Yeah.
All right, then listen. This next song's got real ingredients.
This song's about pizza, people.
That baby had the biggest pepperoni I ever seen in my life.
That's great.
All right, so Hide Your Heart moves on. Next matchup in round 2, Betrayed versus King of Hearts. It's a pretty good
Betrayed.
matchup.
Betrayed.
I don't know about this one.
I'm thinking also I'm going to have to go with Betrayed, I think.
I guess I go back to Betrayed more, but that might be my favorite Gene song and my favorite Paul song on the record.
Yeah.
One against each other. But I guess I listen to Betrayed more than I listen to the other one. This next song is double cheesy.
Double stuffed crust, people.
It's got the cheese inside. Whenever he would talk about that, he always picked like the worst word to emphasize, and it was never the one you thought he was going to emphasize either.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. What's the people saying? Betrayed.
Betrayed.
King of Hearts. Betrayed. King.
I give the win to Betrayed.
All right. Yeah. 3 of us all picked it.
Yeah. It's unanimous on our side.
All right. So then the last matchup in the first round is Prisoner of Love versus Silver Spoon.
Ugh.
It's a tight one.
Silver Spoon.
I'm going to go with Prisoner of Love. You know, Silver Spoon was one when the album was new. I loved it. I used to listen to it a lot, but I don't like it anymore. So I'll go with Prisoner of Love.
Let's see if the people can influence me here.
Oh, well, you
because I could go either way on this one. So I'm going to go with the people. Prisoner, Silver Spoon, Silver Spoon, Silver Spoon, Prisoner, Silver Spoon.
Ask Phil Lewis. That was a bad joke. Andrew got it.
Pretty even on what the people are saying too.
You're gonna have to pick yourself. Andrew and I are split. So which one are you gonna pick?
Man, that's tough.
I need to load the Jeopardy music in here.
Yeah. I guess somebody's got to agree with Mighty K once in a while, so I'll go with Silver Spoon.
Hit the wrong button.
That was your forever moment, you know.
Yeah.
That was my Gary Corbett impersonation.
Yeah.
Man, that would have been so cool to see on video.
Oh, I was
Gotta be
in tears
out there
laughing when he
somewhere,
told us that story. It's like, that would have been so amazing to see.
Wasn't funny at the time, I don't think.
What do we
And
think
I
of
don't
it?
even remember reading about that in in Kiss Alive Forever or any of those books. You thought that would be a story that would be in there, but I don't remember reading about it.
I wonder, you know, because in that footage from Exposed 2, that's like at the beginning of the tour. So I almost wonder if it may have happened during sound check and he was misremembering, because they're referencing it during the time that they're getting ready to open the tour, you know.
Probably.
So that may be why it's not on film.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if he ever specifically said it was live in concert. The way he told the story made it appear like it was, though.
Might have been.
It seemed like that might have been our imagination running, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
That would have been so cool.
Better make sure that don't happen out on the road, Gary.
I wish it had happened in Nashville. It would have been funny as shit.
All right, so we are down to the semifinals in the Best of the Hot in the Shade tournament, down to the 4 songs that have made it this far, defeated everything else. So the first matchup in the semifinal round for the best album, best song on Hot in the Shade, got Rise to It versus Hide Your Heart. The singles going at it.
I go with Rise to It. I think it's a better rock song.
It's a tough one.
Hide Your Heart's a good song, but I think it would have fit a pop artist better than Kiss.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Rise to It.
And I think Ace Frehley did a better version of it.
Ooh,
personally.
no, definitely not.
You
I like
don't think
Ace-
so?
I like
Ace's
Ace solo better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People saying Rise to it, hide your heart, rise to it, hide your heart, hide your heart, rise to it. Not very helpful.
Somebody's agreeing with you though.
Yeah, all right.
Diesel. What are you picking?
I guess I'm gonna go with Rise to It. I think it's a good rocking song, well written. I've always liked that one.
I think it's underrated for that.
I think so too. And like I said, that's a song like if they're looking back on their career going, you know what, let's put together a set list and maybe throw in some couple of oddballs to surprise people. I think that would be a good one to do it.
Well, they did in the beginning of the end of the road tour.
Yeah.
Replaced by
good.
Dr. Love, which again, come on.
Yeah.
Do we need to hear that one again?
Sure.
No. All right, and who will face Rise to It in the finals? It's going to either be Betrayed or Silver Spoon.
Betrayed.
Betrayed.
I think so. Betrayed too. Yeah, I agree. Anybody else? No.
That pizza crust is going to rise to it.
I'm sure with the funny comments here.
This tour should have been promoted by Pizza Hut. Every song is going to be mention pizza.
Well, now the whole bunch of comments come through. Silver Spoon, betrayed.
Yeah, it looks like Betrayed for the most part, even with the people.
Yeah.
I agree.
So what does it come down to? Rise to It versus Betrayed?
Rise to It versus Betrayed in the finals. What is the best song on Hot in the Shade? Is it Rise to It?
Rise to It.
Or is it Betrayed?
Man, that's hard.
Rise to It.
Aaron, you go ahead of me.
I'm singing these songs in my head.
I love both of these songs.
I'm gonna go since we're keeping it interesting. Andrew picked Rise to It. I'm gonna go Betrayed. So now it's up to Chris and the people.
So I'll go with Rise to It.
All right.
So, I love Jason Tucker's comment though. Domino. All right, Rise to It. Betrayed. Rise to It. It's pretty split. Rise. It's Rise. Not hard for me. I don't even like Betrayed. Oh, okay. That's talking about Forever still. Betrayed.
The hell is this guy talking about? Chad Hill.
Never heard of him.
I don't even know what that's about. Okay. And then Sega Stanley says Sink to It. Okay.
Sink to It.
I think Rise to It won.
So there you have it.
Wow.
As judged on by the Decibel Geek podcast, our special guest Andrew and the people. Undisputedly, the greatest song on the album Hot in the Shade by KISS is Rise to It.
It's funny, our friend Victor Ruiz, I was doing his live stream earlier today, and he predicted that Little Caesar would win this, and that one got knocked out in the first round.
Yeah, by forever.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that?
Too funny.
Well, I think I definitely would have picked Eyes of Love over some of the other songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have too.
But again, that's how it's going to be when you're facing against songs like that. But yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree. Rise to It. Quite a lot of yeast on that record. It's got to rise to it. So.
Oh, Kristen agreed with us. Oh, it's about 5. It's about time.
Nice.
Awesome. Oh man.
First time for everything.
Andrew, I mean, you did this on this movie on the Hot in the Shade Tour, Greatest Show on Earth too. So how often do you listen to this record though? Like, what do you overall think of this record?
The record's pretty weak.
Yeah.
It starts out pretty good. I really liked Rise to It, Betrayed, and Hide Your Heart. I think it starts out really strong, but there's a lot of songs I don't even remember making it to the end of them. But I like this era a whole lot. I like what the band was doing. I like the live show. I just like how the band sounded. And then, of course, I really like what they did on Revenge. Right. And there's actually a great Revenge video that Bruce Kulick just put out in the history of Revenge, just 30 years. But I like what they were doing at this time. And I like, I like the songs that they picked to play live. I really do. So I don't love the record, but I love the live show and I love the era of the band.
Mhm.
You know, and you can see the tour book right back there. Giant KISS tour book right back there.
Yeah, I stole mine off years ago, and I still regret it to this day.
I got them all right there. Every version right there. I'm only missing 2.
I'm so jealous.
Nice.
Oh.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, but yeah, so I did Greatest Show on Earth Part 2 is coming out next Friday, June 10th.
June the 10th, youtube.com/greatest show on earth fan films. You don't want to miss this. You know, Bruce Kulick has seen it. He loves it. Larry Mazer has seen it. Manager at KISS 89 and 94. He loves it. And everybody else that has seen clips of it is loving it. And the comment I see the most is people say that it brings them back to their memories of this tour, because a lot of people have a lot of great memories of seeing this tour.
Yes. And you will get to see Bruce Kulick's water in this documentary.
You'll see Bruce Kulick's water. You'll see Eric Carr's earplugs. You'll see Eric Carr's shoes. And then you'll also see Paul Stanley eating tuna.
Yeah. It's exciting stuff.
All right.
No,
So basically, if you're a KISS fan of any era, you know, make sure you're there on the day of release to check this out. I know you're going to love it, especially if you were like around the same age as Chris and myself and you were living these times. You know, this movie is going to bring you right back to it. It's going to give you good feelings in your heart. You're going to feel great when you watch it. I know you're going to love it. So make sure you don't miss it. Greatest Show on Earth, Part 2.
Part 2, Greatest Show on Earth 2. Going to be on YouTube and Vimeo June 10th, 1 week from today.
Yeah, and some surprises that you can't announce yet, but we were privy to that. You guys are going to want to stay tuned to his channel.
Yeah. So there's going to be some cool stuff coming in. I will be on the KISS Room on June the 10th, the day of the release of the movie. So you watch the movie, then come and listen to us talk about it on the KISS Room. I'll have some special announcements on there. It's something so cool that you'll all be able to be a part of, and I can't wait to tell you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for continuing to preserve history and put out good quality product, even though the band doesn't seem to want to do it. But hopefully this will eventually come with a job for you, because I mean they need.
Hey, it's all good. You know, if it doesn't come with it, I'm not quitting my job, and this is fun. Some people, they go bowling every Tuesday. I make these things, so it's fun for me. So if nothing comes out of it, I'm all right. Awesome. I just want you guys to watch it and enjoy it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, like all your movies are. So thanks again for coming on. And Aaron, give the quick plugs for what we got coming up.
Oh man, I ain't got nothing going on except waiting to see The Greatest Show on Earth 2. I'm ready, and I know everybody else is too. Everybody's so excited about it. Everybody loved the first one. We've got, let's see, we just did an episode of On Assignment on Decibel Geek where we were assigned the debut album by a band called New England.
Yes.
Some of you probably know New England. Some of you might
Produced
not.
by Paul Stanley.
That's right. KISS connections all over the place on that album. And like Andrew said, the album was produced by Paul Stanley. And so we break it down, we give it grades, and at the end, we give the whole album a final grade. You guys check that out. There's going to be little clips of the songs in there, so you can judge along with us and tell us what you think at the end, what you would have gave that album as a grade. And that's out now.
Mm-hmm.
We also got Torpedo Dudes for everyone. That's right. We're releasing a free version of the Torpedo Dudes where I talk all about my weekend at Creatures Fest. Most of it's about what an asshole I am and how terrible I feel about for Rockstar and Andrew on accident. Didn't mean to. It definitely did. Didn't mean to. I'm so
but
sorry.
You weren't the biggest asshole of the weekend, so if it takes
No, that's cool. Yeah, I would have signed anything for free, so whatever.
Just not the bill.
Right,
sign everything but the bill for free.
I charge $3,000 for baseballs, just so you know.
Right. So who do I make this out to? Fuck you, Aaron Camaro. I don't want your autograph now. You don't know who I am, son of a bitch. We also got a new noise episode coming your way. We're going to keep those coming on the regular. We're trying to do them every single week. All you guys have ever asked from us is a little bit more. We're trying to give it to you. Just like tonight, back having fun talking about KISS with our awesome friend Andrew, letting everybody know about his new movie coming out.
Oh.
Be excited, people, because like I said, in this day and age, there's not a whole lot of new KISS stuff out there that you see that you go, wow, this is neat. This is cool. The band isn't doing stuff like this for you. So it's up to the people to do it. And Andrew's taken it upon himself to create these amazing movies. You can enjoy them for free. And that's what it's all about. He's sharing the love with his fellow KISS fans. That's you, that's me, that's Chris, that's everyone listening and hanging out on this tonight. So make sure you mark that on your calendar. Look up Andrew, like it, follow it, social media. You're on all of them, right?
I am. I'm everywhere. But the best place to get me is youtube.com/greatest show on earth fan films, where you can see all my work in one place.
So go subscribe to that right now as soon as we're done here. That way, when Andrew comes out with something new, you got it.
Yeah,
Don't
and
even
go
have to
back
work for it.
and go back and check out the first greatest show on earth, the Kiss at Midnight, all the stuff he's done. And I love that you include stuff from the times that these things happen. It's like a real it's like a time capsule.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, Chris at Midnight was fun, and I knew when I wanted to do a 70s style like TV special, I knew I wanted to include 70s commercials. So so Kiss at Midnight was a lot of fun to do.
Awesome. All right, well guys, thanks for tuning in tonight, and enjoy your weekend. Thanks, Andrew, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
See you guys.
See ya.